Hey everyone, Robert Ferringo with Doc Sports here with your 2020 Cleveland Browns Las Vegas season win total picks and predictions video. Make sure to check me out at www.docsports. That's www.docsports.com. All right, so today we're talking about the Cleveland Browns. But before we look ahead to 2020, we have to flash back. We have to go in the Wayback Machine and go back to summer of 2019. And if you're a Cleveland Browns fan or backer, I think you'll remember it very well, because it was this time last year that the Cleveland Browns were the most hyped team in the NFL. All right, all summer, that's all you heard about, Cleveland Browns. They were what I refer to as everybody's sleeper team. And in that all of the media bobbleheads and analysts and people you see on TV, they all had the same sleeper team, and it was the Cleveland Browns. Okay, and when you're everybody's sleeper team, you're no one's sleeper team, but that's neither here nor there. All you heard about was the Browns. I literally remember hearing discussions on ESPN about if the Browns were Super Bowl contenders. Okay, now when I see stuff like that, instantly I perk up, because I know I'm going to bet against those teams and bet against them heavily, aggressively when the season comes along. All right, that's nothing unique to me. A lot of professional bettors will tell you about, betting against the public and playing against the hype and things like that. And there were a lot of people that cleaned up betting against the Browns last year. But something that a lot of people don't talk about is the year after effect, the year after with those teams. All right, so let's go back 1 year further. Okay, let's go back to the summer of 2018. Let's put the Browns on hold for a second. Do you remember who everybody's sleeper team was in the summer of 2018? It was the San Francisco 49ers. Do you remember the year before, 2017, they made the Garoppolo trade. They won their last 6 games, and going into the offseason, made some moves. And in 2018, all summer of 2018, all you heard about was the San Francisco 49ers. Could they go to the Super Bowl? Is San Francisco back? They were not back. I bet against them in 2018 aggressively, and they flopped. Garoppolo got hurt. They went 6-10. They weren't very good. So again, that happens. Everybody feels burned by the fact that this sleeper team, this team that there had been so much hype about, that they didn't come through for them. So the next year, so in 2019, last summer, was anybody talking about the San Francisco 49ers? No, right? So everyone got burned by them the year before. What happened? San Francisco is one of the best teams in football. They were 1 quarter away from winning the Super Bowl. All right? I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with the Browns this year. The Browns definitively are not a Super Bowl contender this year. But they are going to be better. And I do think that there's a lot of value on the Browns right now because nobody's talking about them. Okay? They spent all last offseason talking about them. They threw up on themselves because they're the Browns. So now nobody cares. Okay, you're not going to fall for that trick again, right? And I've seen this 100 times in a variety of different sports. What happens is you get burned by these hype teams, and then everybody kind of tosses them aside the next year. That's when I jump on, because there was a reason that these teams were hyped in the first place. All right, that's the Browns are no different. When you look at this roster, there are a lot of things to like, okay? And I can give you 4 reasons why they are going to be significantly better this year than they were last year. The first is the new coach, okay? Freddie Kitchens was a clown. That guy was a joke. It is still just beyond me that they even hired that guy to be an NFL head coach. He was a clown. I can't stress that enough. So they brought in Kevin Stefanski, offensive coordinator from Minnesota. Now, he's a rookie coach also, but unlike Kitchens, Stefanski actually has coordinator experience. He has been a successful NFL assistant. He is going to restore some order, bring some discipline, and bring some focus to that team, because they were off the rails. They were off the rails early last year under Kitchens because that guy was in way, way over his head. Okay, number 2. The Browns upgraded their offensive line. They had a lot of weapons last year. All right, flashy car on the outside, but the engine was a lawnmower engine. Okay, This year, they bolstered the offensive line. They signed Jack Conklin to play left tackle. They used their top draft pick on the right tackle out of Alabama. They signed a fullback. That is something they did not even have on the roster last year. Didn't even have a fullback. First and goal from the 2, third and 1, in midfield. They didn't have a jumbo package, okay? Now they do. They're going to be a little bit more of a smash mouth team, and they're just solidified up front. I think that's going to benefit them tremendously and help those skill position players meet their potential. Number 3, there's going to be more familiarity between those skill position players. You got to remember, Jarvis Landry had only been there a couple years. Baker Mayfield had only been there a couple years. Odell Beckham is new. Kareem Hunt is new. These guys didn't know each other. They didn't know where they were coming from. There was no chemistry on that offense and on that team and in that locker room. I think there will be a little bit more of that this year, and I think that they will be a little bit more motivated because they all know that they failed last year. They all know they didn't live up to the hype last year. So I expect a little bit more cohesion and chemistry in that locker room, even though they have a new coach. The 4th thing might be the most important thing working in Cleveland's favor, and that is they have a very favorable schedule this year. All right, they open up the season at Baltimore. That's no good. Okay, that's a tough opener. But after that, they get 3 of the next 4 games at home, and they play 7 straight games after week 1 against teams that did not make the playoffs last year. They have a stretch in November where they have 3 straight home games. And in a time frame from October 5th to November 29th, they have 2 road trips. They have to go 136 miles to Pittsburgh and 250 miles to Cincinnati. That's it. Okay, so over a 2-month period, they're playing at home or they're playing near home. Very, very favorable schedule for the Browns, so I expect them to be much better. Like I said, look, everybody was on the bandwagon last year. It was bloated and overblown, and this was an overhyped team, and anybody that knows anything about NFL football should have been able to see that coming a mile away. Right now, I look at the Cleveland Browns and I see value. I think there's a lot of burned people out there that don't want to jump back into bed with this team. I see value, okay? I'll pick up the reins and I will drive that bandwagon this year. Again, the Cleveland Browns are not a Super Bowl contender. I'm not wandering into any of that nonsense. But I do think that they'll be an improved team. I do think that they can get to 9 wins. And I'm taking the Cleveland Browns over 8.5 wins this season. That's it for today. Be sure to check out www.docsports.com for more of my videos, which you can also find on YouTube. In the meantime, carpe diem and good luck.